When you hear the sound of the bell, you know you in the championship rounds with King Amin of Essex and my guy, my co-host. Tell me your name, champ.
Body work boxing, you dig?
And we joined by my guy, Jay Hardcore from Hardcore Boxing News. We going a little unconventional today. He's getting himself fixed up so we can fix you guys up with a healthy dose of boxing. We got three opinions today. We got three minds here. Cause if you ain't got a good corner, you ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? Your corner gonna need to tell you more. So you heard me say, Poppy, you got knocked down. You know what I'm saying? My corner right. My corner will breathe in me if I need that kind of help. So I got my guys in the building. Jay Hardcore, introduce yourself, brother. And before we jump into the festivities. I think he froze. I think he froze. All right. Well, nonetheless, look, let's get it rolling. We're gonna work out the kinks. Let's jump right into it. We heard a little bit of news. Prograis and Ramirez. It wasn't. It was a purse bid. The purse business didn't work out. Let me know right away your thoughts on that one, because we kind of talked about Regis and what's next for Regis.
On par with a couple of the pound for pound guys. And if you look at if you look at Ginger and you look at Bud, I think that it's kind of like a precedent's been set, because when the PBC had the deal on the table, Canelo walked away for the bigger bag. Bud said that the bag was no guarantees, or however, whatever the murky water was, he said that it was really coming back to the bag. And here you go with this situation where Regis just went out, he did the heavy lifting, he went and got that title, and he's saying, because he, pretty much his management and stuff saying, because he brings in Ramirez, he brings the network and the name and the credibility, that the bag isn't big enough. And I'm like, man, it's a slippery slope, because it's real convenient now to say, oh man, my bag ain't big enough, so I'm gonna duck this smoke. It's like, no, if you go slap that man to sleep, or put a good performance on, or just come out with a hard fought victory, the rest is history. If you got everything else, that's just my first take, though.
No, and I'm thinking the name got to be worth more than the bag. Like, to have a Jose Ramirez, on your resume. He only got one loss, and he's a hell of a fighter. You know what I'm saying? So, like, get that bag, clip everybody that think they the guy, and show them you're the guy. So, that's that A-side slut talk, man. He whispering the sweet nothings in whoever ear, but or the sweet nothings is being whispered in his ear, because he can't find the reason or the logic to take that fight other than the bag ain't right. And I disagree. I don't take nothing away from Regis, but don't that remind you of how, again, I always draw the comparisons in the music industry. We expect the guys, that went through it to put the younger guys on, and then we see what Mace did to Fabio. And depending on how you look at it, he did right by him, but he did right by him because he was doing right by himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we expect more, and respect to him because he get hit in the head. Can't nobody really tell you what it's worth, but I'm gonna just say that from people that respect you and respect him and what he brings to the ring, it's not a good look initially, though.
Yeah.
Not a good look. Just at first glance, it's not a good look.
Well, what does he do then? What's he got on the table? Because if it ain't Ramirez, 140 is hella deep. Does he get the winner of the one I've been talking about, Jeremiah Ponce and Subriel Matias? Does he get that winner and try to unify? Or what else happens at 140?
I think that Ramirez, they saying Comey, right?
Yeah.
The Ghanaian. Yeah. So they saying it's going to be Comey. That's what the talks are, and I mean, that's a good name, but with Comey, after the TO thing, and then you had the Loma. Now he got Marinez up out of there, but I think that Comey needs to have either a strong resurgence. Other than that, then it don't look good. It don't look good to say no to Regis because of a bag and then go pick a Comey, given the caliber of fighters and the convenience of it all. I don't know. That's at first glance, just keeping it all the way funky. I'm gonna handle it with kid gloves though until I get more information. But that's just how I feel right now.
Hey, Hardcore, jump in if you got something, man. Come on now. You gotta get off mute. But what does Regis do though? I guess that's my question. Does he just sit around and hold the bag and hold the belts? What does he do?
I believe that he deserves a victory lap. In all honesty, he took a long way. He took the stairs. He didn't take the elevator. He deserves a victory lap, and I think that victory lap is going to be whenever the baby drop and he get his fight out the way. I think it's going to be AB. You know what I'm saying? Whenever the that's what I'm hearing,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to be bag. And he said he want to do it in Louisiana. I think, man, that can you imagine Regis and AB in the with Mercedes Dome down there in Louisiana? Can you imagine something like that?
But the problem is Broner would have to do something appealing against Red Cats. He'd have to really do something appealing and make us, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, I'll be trying to believe in dude, but I do find him entertaining. I just want to find that same entertainment value inside the ring, you know. He's a hell of a talker. He would talk the fight up and he would lure us all in, you know what I'm saying? Tell us everything we want to hear, but I'm not sure if the performance would align with his words, man. And but
Yeah,
Yeah,
competitively.
well,
Go ahead, Jay.
I was just saying at one time, man, Broner really could fight, man. I think ever since the Madonna thing, he just he done got shy, man. He's gun-shy now. He won't let them hands go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you broke up, but what Jay-Z said, niggas test you when your gun go cold. So, you know what I'm saying? That's why he's in there against Red Catch. Red Catch ain't exactly the most stable or consistent fighter himself. He's had some antics and things going on. But moving on
Yeah,
to
we
go ahead.
get nothing from him. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I want to take a look at something I seen. I don't know how real or substantial it is, but Fundora said he's willing to fight Earl Spence at 154. And I just thought that was an interesting take because I don't know if it was a question that was asked and he said, what fights would you look forward to in the future? And I'm going to throw it this way. And I see my man kind of shake his head a little bit, but I'm going to shake the pot. Because maybe it's a case of monkey see, monkey do. Maybe it's a case of, another guy says, I'm worried about moving up to 154. I could fight for the undisputed guy. And then another guy says, well, I can go to 154 too, but he's supposed to be the guy that's supposed to be cleaning up 147. Or am I missing something? Anybody? Let's have at it. Clarify.
Yeah, he's
Go ahead, Jay.
cleaning up 147, but
we gotta fix that reception. We missing Jules, champ.
yeah, I tell you what, I'm going.
Damn.
Your reception right now. Go ahead and do your thing. Dang.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna make it through. But what you think?
I want the business to be finished, man. I don't like unfinished business. I don't like cliffhangers, hangnails, whatever you want to call it. And I think that I respect the fact that Fundora is willing to do it, and I do want to see what Earl looks like. It's just at this point, I want closure, because it does nothing if we don't see that and we miss that. In this era, this is our generational. This is the big one, or the biggin, as they say. If we miss out on that, it's like, yeah, you can go do whatever. It's just like, that's why I keep it even Steven with Bud. I'm like, I don't want to hear about no Charlo. I don't want to hear about no Bud Charlo. Like, right, it's unfinished business at 47. If it's gonna be something else, if you're gonna jump out there, you know what I'm saying, beat one of these young cats to sleep that's been, one of these young pups that been embarking. You know what I'm saying? So I keep it the same. I'm not ready to see Earl go just yet. You know, we need business finished because there's a school of piranhas down there at 47. And we need to see what's going to happen the right way. We can fix this. These guys can be bigger than that. Fix this situation, and then y'all both move on. You know, that's how I feel right now.
And, you know, I just had to, you know, the big fish, you know, as Earl Spence calls himself, I guess I had to just throw a little chum in the water. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, talking about Fundora, you know, I guess that's kind of him, you know, reaching out there and creating a market for himself because he know what's on the table for him. I guess my expectation is he would wait for the winner, the presumed winner of Zoo and Charlo, right? But what Lubin won a rematch, and Lubin said that he'll stop Fundora if they get in their ring again. So what do you think? Is Fundora maybe, you know, doing a little bit too much marketing and not focusing on what lies ahead for him at 154?
Exactly. We can stop right there. It's too, but you can't, like, listen, Tony Harrison. If you got Tony Harrison right now in front of you, this, like, listen, Tony Harrison, I mean, they say that Tony Harrison pretty much outboxed Charlo. It depends on the style and what you give credence to, but we can watch that fight 10 times and we probably get, you know, half say, oh yeah, I think this one, I think he won, and half say that I think he won. We can do it over and over again. And Tony Harrison is nothing to shake a stick at. You did good by putting the name up, and people have credibility because they know you would actually get in there in the ring and fight them guys. But remember, Villanueva got all happy talking about Pitbull. De Los Santos came up there and like, what? What? You gonna eat your corn? Oh, okay, it's my cornbread. And there was no ice sock. You know what I'm saying? So I like the spirit of Fundora. You know, he's one of my guys, you know what I'm saying, up and coming. But hey, Tony Harrison, man, respect that man and what he brings to the game, because he might be more trouble than what you were prepared for.
Yeah, Tony Harrison is definitely still in play, and Lubin is still in play because he's a fighter that forgets his losses. And that's what you need in this game. You need to be able to forget your losses. So Fundora better focus on what he got going on. Another guy that maybe he hasn't had the same success, or maybe has had the same success, but is in a similar situation of calling out. Is it marketing? Chris Colbert. Now, we know he can talk. He's a bit of a talker. I actually used to be in Tane during the pandemic. He had like these talent show joints, and, you know, I like the brother. He got a chicken shack out in Garfield, New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? He brought the chicken shack to the community that's outside of the community, so they know what a chicken shack is like. He's a nice guy. I like the guy, right? Mm-hmm. I even like the way he handled Gary Russell, and I'm going to get to that element in a minute, but he's calling out Frank Martin. He's talking shit about Jamel Herring. Is Chris Colbert just trying to get back in the fight game? Is he just trying to build his confidence up, or is, you know, what's your take on that?
Yeah, you know, it's one of them things where, you know, before, you know, if you got you land a big fish, right? You got the number, you getting ready to go over, and you say, all right, now don't fail me, you know what I'm saying? Trying to convince you, hey, you know, we got work to do. That's what he's trying to do, because, you know, listen, all due respect, I like Jamel Herring as a fellow, you know, service member and all that. His time went, but to call that name, it doesn't really make sense at this stage in Jamel Herring's career. It looks like almost like you picking on somebody. And what I would want is for you to be calling out Hector Garcia to get your get back, because let's be honest, I took a lot of heat for Colbert, you know, sticking up for him and you know, everything with some of the comments and all that. And I like the personality just like you. But you need to get your get back with Hector Garcia, because in all essence of the word, as far as fighting, he quit. It was a point in time where Hector Garcia was like, come on, man. He was just like, I mean, what, man? We still got time on the clock, but I'm not really going to engage anymore. So I would like to hear the energy more towards Hector Garcia more. You know, I would say, hey, Jamel Herring, if he decides to come back, he's in commentating now. I like the Frank Martin, but let's be honest.
Yeah.
If you see what Hector did to Colbert, you know, I don't know if you want Frank right now, especially after beating Rivera the way he did. And it's another weight. It's a division up.
That's where I was going with it. The biggest thing is He's calling out guys from a weight class above. Now, going back to my original point with Colbert, and like I said, I think he handled the situation more respectfully. I want that Gary Russell fight for both of them. Because Gary Russell need to finally move up and get out of 126. He finally need to graduate from high school. Finally need to get about the diner like the Fonz. The Fonz got to stop hanging around the teenage. He got to get out of 126. I understand if you can physically make it, but in order to be, how you at 126? And I get it. Some fighters going to duck you because of that superb skill, of course, but that's where you have to shake up the system. And I think he could compete at 130, a very scary division. And a guy like Colbert, where I would think Russell has the advantage, even moving up, I just don't understand. I'm like, Gary, you know what I mean? Handle that. You know what I'm saying? But
I like to see that. I would like to see that. Now that's plausible. Gary, he suffered a defeat. He had the shoulder injury. He's coming back. It has been some dialogue between them. I actually like that fight. That's more of the alley of what I would want to see. And remember, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. was one time he was jaw jacking at Bud. He was going to jump up and say, "Hey, whatever's clever, wherever you want to go." So it's really time now to, like we said before, when I said he has to make a decision as to, okay, if I'm gonna do boxing, I'm gonna do the coaching. But if you're gonna do boxing, grab the bull by the horns and get busy.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, great point. Let's get to our Women's Boxing Wednesdays topic, man. I'm gonna lead off just with this young lady because I was so excited about this fight. I can get right to it because the way she did it, control. She showed. And remember, we was, we was texting. It was late, but her mean streak showed. And I like girls that got a little bit of a mean streak. And for her to dominate this fighter the way she did, I mean, she was younger, but she had way more experience. A veteran in the ring. I'm talking about Femke Hermans out of Germany. She defeated the undefeated Mary Spencer. Now, Femke came in on 13-4, but she only lost to Eileen Sederus, who was one of the 168-pound champions that fought Franchon Dezern Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
With that type of experience, I think she was in there also with Christina Hammer. So when you're fighting at that level of competition and you lose to them, surely no young buckaroo at 7-0 who they talking about her power. Oh my God, Hermans did her thing, and I was just proud to, number one, to see the underdog. I had the whole thing running last week, an opponent, and and I'm looking forward to her rocking out with that belt because at 154, she could get in there, and I think she fought Clarissa Shields at 154 as well. This is what I'm saying. A veteran, a young veteran at 32 years old, and she could still fight Natasha Jonas at 154 if she wanted to. So it's some action out there for her, man. So
yeah,
salute
to
Femke
her.
Hermans.
She did do her thing. I was impressed as well. You know what I'm saying? And we was texting. She was in there getting busy. I actually had Cherneka Johnson. She's Australian, mate. And I picked her because when I saw her, because I was getting ready to remix. I was getting ready to spin the block, and I was like, okay, let's be more creative and let's get some new, because we got to get familiar with more. Like we gotta, we gotta put back into the system, the feeding system of the women's boxing and have different names. So I was like, okay, who could I pick? So I was looking for women in the top 20, and she's listed in the top 20. Not only that, but with the string of Australian fighters, her being Australia, I saw her, and she's like, I think she's 12-1. I think she has like 6 knockouts, I think. But you talking about a physical specimen. You know what I'm saying? She works out, just athlete, just like, how people applaud AB, for the physique and how cut and lean. I'm talking about almost like bodybuilder-esque, like, to where it's like a model, like as far as, the anatomy and how, right. And then I remember where I saw her, it was on the Haney Cambosos too. She was on the undercard. She had that big cut, but she actually showed her warrior spirit, because it was bleeding out. She was licking blood. It was just like, it would look like a horror movie, but she endured it, and got the dub to get the title. So, look out for her. She's somebody to watch. She's coming up from Australia. And I think that she's gonna be making some new. And I like the way she fight. I like the way she spar. I've been looking at her training. You know, is this somebody to keep an eye on? You know, because she's gonna be one of the major players here soon.
And they moving
as they
fast in
mix it
women's
up.
boxing. You know that. So
Yes.
and let me say this. Australia been giving us some things since Iggy Azalea. So they got a fine tradition. We got Sky Nicholson. You know, you got the veteran in Shannon O'Connell, who's also, you know, physically, you know, muscular in that regard.
Yep.
You got Ebony Bridges, you know what I'm saying? Baby Tyson, who her background was bodybuilding. And you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, Australia, and then you can add Cherneka Johnson to that. Australia is becoming synonymous with women's boxing, you know. So definitely, man, I like that pick. I really love that pick, man.
And look, and this the thing though. It's not just so we talked about the marketing aspect as far as getting the eyes on screen. The thing is, the skills are translating with these women.
Always.
It's actually translating in the ring. It's just not like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Oh, who is that? No, when they get in there, you know what I'm saying? They doing more than just swinging. They got head movement, defense. They coming back with that hot shit. So it's just something to look for. I think they got a recipe brewing down there in Australia. Gets me excited, you know?
Absolutely, man. So let's talk a little bit about a year in review. We got some time on our hands as far as, you know, not a lot going on at the end of this year. So off top, what fight stood out for you? You know, it's hard to go with fight of the year. You know, so many fights. We done logged so many hours on the road. They would have asked you, what's the favorite city, right?
Right.
What fight stood out to you the most?
Ironically, it was the Fundora Lubin. I can't lie. I mean, I had it. There was Fundora Lubin was my fight of the year, you know, because of the adversity. And it gives credence to something that Lubin said. Because you gotta think, he didn't say no mas. He was gonna go out there, you know, looking, and it was Coach Cunningham that said, nah, man, like, you know, enough. It wasn't his, he had that dog, and he actually had some success because he actually made Fundora take a knee. He hurt him. So that faith that he has, that's a definitely a good pick for a rubber match. That's how good that fight was. You know, had that fight not got called out, Lubin might have got his in. You know, he might have got some resilience, like, and pulled down and reached down. It just got to the point the way he had suffered so much. But I like that fight. That was probably my fight of the year. You know what I'm saying? Just from the action and the ebbs and the flows.
Yeah, man. I can't even honestly. If I had to just pick, it really had to be either, and I got kind of two that stood out to me. Ugas Spence, because I really got a chance to observe Earl Spence's evolution. And for a long time, I watched him and I didn't know really how good he was. I didn't understand. I'm like, yo, but what does he do that's, you know what I mean? And I really had to understand certain things about his punch placement. You know, the way he set up his punches and just his vision. His IQ is high as hell, and he's kind of like a Tim Duncan-esque. He's so formal, it's perfect. You know, he don't do much wrong. Like, it's like you don't know what he do good because he don't do much wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I marveled at that, and I had seen Ugas live. I was in person for Ugas Thurman. And then I saw Ugas and Pac-Man. You know, I watched that one. So I was high on Ugas, not to think that he was going to beat Spence, but at the same time, I said, I really want to see what Spence does against a high level opponent. That fight really stood out to me and stamped him as, you know, who he is. The other one, in a lot of ways, it was Fury Wilder, because that was the exclamation mark. And that was this year, right? I just want to make sure I got it straight. That one was the exclamation mark. It was the end of a saga. Get it over with. This man won. You might not like him, but you got to respect him, kind of thing, with Tyson Fury. So those two fights, fight of the year for me, man.
Yeah, that's a sec. I was also thinking about the ironically, it was I thought it was a referee premature stoppage. I actually kind of like the Gary Antoine and Rancis fight too. I thought that one had the makings of, and I actually still want them to run that back because, you know, I think the ref stopped it. And I'm not really a big guy on the rematches, But that was just another good fight if you want to go back and watch and check it out. I thought it was pretty good, for the time being. So I threw that one in the hat too.
Now, who you got for fighter of the year, male and female?
Fighter of the year. Wow, I got my prospects and I got my champions. So let's go with champions. I got Charlo. I got Jamel Charlo.
Mine too.
He closely edged out in a way. I know people don't know about anyway. It's something that people gonna be late to the party when you see it, only because this was in a way's third division. But to admire, in this era, it's like you can win one fight and get all of the belts. Jamel Charlo didn't do it, and you got to think on his quest, he had to go back to the table with two different opponents. In Tony Harrison, it was a delay because Tony Harrison was hurt, and then also with Castaño, saying his bicep was hurt and he had to delay, and he forged past it. Not only was it controversial in which Tony Harrison won the first one and he came back and stopped him, but on the second one, it was a draw, which some people was actually leaning. If you would have said Castaño won, I wouldn't argue. If you would have said Charlo won, I wouldn't argue. Either way, I wasn't gonna argue.
Sure.
But he came back and stopped that man to gain all those pieces in this political boxing game that we have. And he just shown that he is that guy. You talking about proven? You're like, it's no doubt what kind of chin he got, what he bring to the table. So that's why I had him on the male side.
And the fact that, I don't know if I mentioned here or somewhere else, the fact that he switched up his style for that fight and people didn't know or think that he will be comfortable in the clinch to stop Castaño's come forward. He had Castaño, moving off the back foot. And once he did that, he started catching him with that check hook off the jab, and that was it. And it's just, I love that level of adversity to being able to overcome it. So, and for the women, I mean, I got to give it to Bumgarner. I got to give it to her for her run. You know what I'm saying? The run leading up to what she did on foreign soil, the way she did it. I got to give it to her.
And that's what I had. AB. You know what I'm saying? We think alike. That's why she had her moment. It was a lot of pressure, but she handled it so well. The way she handled it in the ring, because it was an ebb and flow. It was 3. I had it 3 going her way. And then Mary came back, it was 3 that way, and then she kind of like took over and weathered the storm and showed, hey, I can make that adjustment. And she had Tony Harrison in her corner to do it. Yeah. So salute to Tony Harrison, because he was behind that.
Definitely. We thinking alike, man. I like that.
Yep.
Let's see who we choose for prospect of the year. Male and female. Who you got for male?
Male, I actually have Jared. I got Jared Anderson up there, and only because I would have I had Jared because he's heavyweight, and no disrespect to the heavyweight division, but I grew up in the Tyson era. When it was Tyson, Lennox, Holyfield, and some big, being a child, those were some big names, and I thought that it was a gap in time in the heavyweight division where it was like who's clear. It was like one dominant, but it wasn't a posse of people where at any point in time you put this one in with this one, anything can happen. I think it's getting back to it, and this young man is showing the promise. Top Rank's giving him the keys to be able to express himself artistically. Talk about his brother that was locked up coming in the costume. I was gonna put my Grinch costume on. I'm gonna say that for the video for him, but he came down with the, and he showed adversity, but he gets you excited about the heavyweight division as being one of them guys that's going to be able to mix it up with some of the other big guys. So that's why I said Jared, and Ramla Ali for the women. I had. Who you have?
Well, for the men's, I got to pick the guy, that I had to do an about face on. Keyshawn, he's that dude. I got him highly touted. I think he can be the goods. And I also think that he's prepared for the adversity, I want him to win too because of the legacy of Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker out of Norfolk as well. So yeah, I want Norfolk to get back out there, and I believe that they're gonna live vicariously through this young man. So Top Rank is doing some good business. And when I look at the prospects on the women's side of things, I gotta go with my girl, Sky Nicholson. she's
Yeah, I
gonna
knew it.
be the one that's gonna do it on another level because she hasn't even fully developed her skill set,
Right.
and she likes to punch, and she's starting to sit down a little bit, and she's got that mean streak, and
Right.
she's having fun. She's having fun, and a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. So yeah, man, I love that, man.
I can't argue with you at all. It was tough for me. It was very tough for me on the female one, but I think Ramla, you gonna see that skill set unfold, man. I see it. You know how I am about, technique and all that. I just see it, but yeah, I pretty much figured you was gonna do that, so good pick, man. I can't argue with you on that one.
Yeah, man, it's a great one as always, man. But you got anything else when we close out? We got a few minutes, man. Anything else we want to throw on the table?
Let me tell you the comeback champ. I got Regis as the comeback champ along with Senicia Estrada. Both of them, Senicia Estrada, I guess because of the money aspect and all that. And she, for a woman that I know she loves the box, she loves the box, but for her to have to sit out a year, I know that pained her, but she came back and did her thing. Looked like she didn't miss a step. And Regis, once again, for taking the stairs, man. Still, he talking stuff or whatever, but he's very respectful. I think he learned from the Josh Taylor thing, and he's back. And now you already see people, you know what I'm saying, oh no, man, I ain't getting paid enough to fight this man. Yeah, you probably ain't getting paid enough to fight that man. And my underrated champ is Bivol, man. I think that what he was able to do and beating Canelo and then going around and because it's almost like he exposed two guys if you look at it.
Yeah.
He kind of like he exposed. It wasn't exposure for me. I mean, maybe with Zerto, but I think Bivol was underrated, and the knockout of the year I gave to Caleb Plant because I saw it like nobody saw. I mean, I think people thought that if it was going to go 12, Caleb could clearly outbox him. I'm thinking, but everybody was looking like, man, but if the rail catch him, and it was one of my favorites, it was a body head. You know what I'm saying? He went to that body, then he came up to that head, and it came out of nowhere, and it was over. So I gave him the knockout of the year. Some of the people, those are some of the people that I had in my notes.
No, definitely. And comeback of the year, one close to my heart. I don't know where he goes from here, but Danny Garcia, to see that man come back against Benavidez like that, it was a great fight as well. Knockout of the year. I don't know. I think I might be with you on that one because that was just like an exclamation point. It was like, yo, it was real. It was real. He put that shovel, he put that dirt on him, man. But I'm hoping that next year gives us just as much to talk about. I'm always glad to have you on here, my partner. We're gonna get up out of here. Let the people know one more time before the sound of that bell hits them.
It's Bodywork Boxing on YouTube, Bodywork Boxing 24/7 on Gmail, and Mr. Bodywork Boxing on the gram here at Bodywork Boxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
And that's what counts in the championship rounds, ladies and gentlemen. We
Salute,
out of
champ.
here.
We in the championship round. We in the round. We in the championship round.